Hey everyone, it's Erin with Lady Be Collective, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today's topic is going to be on COVID exhaustion. So it's a tough one, and I don't think any of us thought we would be here at this moment, and we've been through a lot with it. We're going into seven months, and we're now hitting a second wave. And I think that when it first happened, it was so scary and no one knew what to do. But I also think that there was a lot of hope and a lot of thinking of, or at least I thought, like, this might just last 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. So people had a lot of hope, or maybe they used it as just like a break from life, or to get things done that they've always been wanting to do, or just things like that. And I think that we were almost kind of naive to it a little bit. And so we spent a lot of it having hope, and then little by little it became kind of scarier and no one knew what to believe, and there's just so much out there. And I think that as time went on, we kind of had to, and I've talked about this before, kind of make up our own mind about what we were gonna do, right? Like wear masks and clean your hands, but also take the risk at how you want to, because now we're going into months and months of it. And I think then there was a little time, at least here in Chicago, where things opened up a little bit, and it was around summer, and I think there was an appreciation for us to be able to just get outdoors, and just give a little time for just the fresh air. I mean, the fresh air and sun does a world of difference. And I think for me, I just really wanted to soak it all up. And for a moment, I kind of not forgot what was going on, but I think because it was so dreary and horrible, even though it was still happening and the numbers were still there, it just gave me a sense of things were getting better, and almost kind of a false sense. And also when the season started changing, that's always kind of difficult for people. Well, one, we have a lot of civil unrest that's been going on this entire time. There's different election and political views that are going around, and this is a huge election, so side note, go out and vote. But then we have COVID, and now we're entering into this different season. And in Chicago, it's like we already kind of have like seasonal depression during this time, right? And it gets cold, and the one thing we had to look forward to is kind of the holidays, and that's not really what it's like this year. And I know even for me, I low-key, kind of high-key freak out about, say, the flu and other stuff even before COVID. So now we have flu season upon us, and the election and the civil unrest and COVID and the winter weather, and just this elongated anxiety and depression, and it's just too much. I mean, I've probably been saying it's too much since March. But this second wave, it's almost like, I always kind of say it like if you go to the dentist and somebody's like, oh, it doesn't hurt to get a cavity filled, but you don't really know. And so you're kind of hopeful, but if you have a bad experience with it, you kind of are afraid of the dentist, right? And so with coronavirus, when we didn't know, we still kind of had that hope. We didn't really understand it fully. But now that we've been through it, and especially like if you're in a big city, or just where you're not surrounded by a lot of family and friends, or if you're in a smaller area, like place, it's even more isolating, right? And it's the same, I guess, anywhere, even if you, I should probably take that back, but even if you were, but in a bigger place. I mean, now you have homeschooling for kids, I forgot about that, and putting events on hold, and I can go on and on and on. And the whole point is that this fatigue is making for everybody to seriously have anxiety and depression. Like if you already had it, it's worse. If you didn't have it, you probably have some form of it. And just that exhaustion, just that up and down. And I feel myself that I kind of had a plan for the first one a little bit, just to kind of keep busy, or I redecorated my place, or I went through my clothing. And I also rested too, but I used the time to, for me personally, to try to get some stuff done. Some days I wouldn't. Some people used it for rest. Some people used it to do whatever they want. However, there's no wrong or right way, like I've said before. However, this second wave is coming with so many other things too. And I think that on one hand, people may be like, okay, this is hopefully just the second and end of that wave. And this is kind of the end of maybe closer to finding a vaccine or a reliable treatment, even if it's in 2 or 3 months. But the real issue is that we don't know how this vaccine will be. We don't really know how it's going to go. They're already, we don't know about the mutations. And I don't even want to be, I feel like I'm being a Debbie Downer on this one a little bit, but I'm just trying to go out there that there's just so much. And this doesn't include any of our personal lives, like our personal things we're going through, our personal goals we wanted to go through that we can't. And again, it's just too much. And so I wanted to kind of discuss ways that I feel like might be a little beneficial during this time, especially winter. Even though wherever you live gets a little colder, it's a change of season. With change, good or bad, comes kind of that uneasiness that I think we've all been feeling. And I feel like we're all just getting even more burnt out. And I just felt like a few things maybe people can implement that would help during these next 3-4 months, or just to get through a few months. And for me, number one was kind of making a list of stuff. So I always talk about lists. I love doing that, but kind of deciding on like what would I normally do, say November or for Thanksgiving or my daily life if COVID wasn't there, and sort of map that out, whether it be appointments or say I'd visit friends, visit family. So while we can't do that, I think that when you kind of map out something and you have stuff to look forward to, so maybe you can't visit with friends, but you do like a fun, you all watch a movie or play a board game via Zoom, or this is a perfect time, maybe like you haven't been doing your appointments. So you're like, okay, I'll keep busy with just going to my appointments. Sometimes, although appointments aren't fun to go to, it's nice to leave the house. I think that's one of the most important things. I understand the whole stay home, but I just mean to be safe and leave the home to, if you have to go to your appointments, or even cold weather is good for the body. So not being out too long, but just going for like a nice brisk walk. Implementing stuff in different areas for the week, right? So there's like errands to do, stuff around the house, family stuff, keeping in touch with friends, exercise or movement, whatever that is. And I think if you can take those 5 or 6 areas and kind of put maybe a few things, it doesn't mean they have to be done that day, but just kind of on an average for that week. And even on there, maybe one goal. Maybe there's something like, maybe you've wanted to write an ebook. Maybe you've wanted to paint something. Maybe you've wanted to redecorate. If you're feeling up to it, maybe that could be something that you put some energy into, right? So I've had anxiety most of my life. And for a while, it was very difficult to leave my place. So I would figure out ways that I could still do these things while being at home. And so I feel like it gave me a little bit more of an advantage because I did so much, along with other anxiety sufferers or introverts. It gave me an advantage because I was already at home. So I think being able to still do things that you love and being at home helps it go by a little bit quicker, but you're still learning, you're still growing, you're still being productive, but you're still resting. Because my theory is like, if you're always busy, that's kind of avoiding it. But if you're always just resting and still doing that all the time, you can get addicted to that as well. So I think trying to find a medium. So for me, like I said, I used to love going to play basketball. So I put like a little rim, doesn't cost a lot, went on Amazon and put it in my place. So that way it's not the same, but it's similar. I get to like shoot around, I'll, entertain myself with that. That's just like one thing that if there's like a certain game or certain thing that you did, maybe you can implement that sports-wise or music-wise or whatever into your place. Also, exercise. There are so many ones on YouTube, or you could get off your TV or apps that you could exercise here. That's the majority of my exercise I do here. Or even, like I said, taking a brisk walk with your dog or by yourself or with someone, just to get outside a little bit, and just little easy to do, which I could do a video or blog on that, easy to do movements, right? So if you're not big into exercise, just stretching, moving your body is so good for you, even to make sure every few hours or every hour you get up and move. That doesn't mean you can't rest or do that, but it's a good combination, right? Rest and put on a nice movie or do some work, and then get up and move a little bit. That will help you go and feel better, right? And like maybe yoga's your thing or meditation's your thing. So I don't know where everyone lives and how much is open, but you can do a lot of that stuff. I think meditating, even for 5 or 10 minutes, journaling, even if you don't write, but you want to just write out your feelings, you want to get that out, therapy, stuff like that, like I think is important for the mental health aspect of it. And then maybe just eating for me is important. It helps me mentally, physically, everything. So maybe if you don't love to cook, maybe you like to bake, maybe you just want to take out from your favorite place, maybe you aren't big on either, but you love to make like 5 or 10 minute appetizers, right? And food makes you happy. So implementing those things I think are really important, as well as still keeping in touch with friends. I'm not always good with that, but even a text, even a FaceTime, even just a call, that really can brighten up your day. So I try to kind of split my day up, and again, after you do it for a few weeks, it kind of becomes a habit, and a positive habit. That's what I did the first time. So I know some people would be like, well, I don't want to be so scheduled, and it's up to you how you want to do that, right? Like I'm just saying that I think when you could put down like family, friends, your work, passion, health and wellness, and you put those little bubbles and just fill them with things that you would normally do now, right? And you can implement those and you can make those in your place, right? So even if it's a dinner out, you can order it in and you can have the same kind of bottle of wine from there you could get, and you can make it like it's an experience. So that's kind of like your restaurant experience, if that's something you really, really love. Same if you love watching football or any kind of sports, or like I said, playing with the Nerf basketball that I do. They have little golf sets or other stuff that maybe that you did in the summer that you can implement. Same with food, right? Like you can get into little areas where it's just fun to make certain recipes. And if you love to cook, great. There's crock-pot recipes that you just put all in, and 8 hours later it's done. Like I said, appetizers, I love doing those. I love anything 5 minutes and under. And you could just kind of have fun. And I think when you can recreate what you would have been doing to the best of how you normally would, I think that that's going to be super beneficial. And also I think some of the stuff that we've been putting off, if we could just slowly start that, like start small, but start it, like maybe an appointment, maybe it's a mammogram, maybe it's, and if when you do it, even if you're nervous or you're uncomfortable and you actually do it, it gives you that momentum that you need, right? And so you're gonna be feeling good because you're gonna be putting in a little bit in all these different areas. And with the momentum, you might feel like putting in even more. And I think that's the important thing to remember, is that we get sometimes focused too much on just stay busy and work the whole time, or just rest the whole time, or, you know, too into health and wellness. We get kind of addicted to the things that we do. But if we look at those areas in our life and we just add a little bit to them, I think that we're going to feel good. We're going to get things accomplished, but we're also going to have some of that downtime, but some of that comfort as well, that will just help us through the next few months, and even into the fact that you don't know what's going to happen in life. You don't know if you're going to have to be home and things would be shut down, or you just have to be home because of illness, or home for whatever reason. These are stuff that you can implement, that you can still feel good, and they still nourish your body and your mind and your soul. And just think, like I said, what you would normally do, and make them and bring them in a sense into your home. And that's where you're going to feel your peace and your safety, and that's going to be even better throughout this. And as life goes on, I think these are things that might be more efficient in your life as life gets busier, that you might want to still keep after COVID and after all of this is happening. And I think it will really help with the exhaustion and feeling like you have to keep on going, or you have to keep on resting. Even for me, being busy makes me tired, but also it's sometimes a good tired. Sometimes resting too much makes me feel even worse. And I know people don't want to say that, because everyone always wants to be like, be gentle with yourself and rest. And I'm a firm believer in that. But I've been through times where I took it overboard, and I took, eat whatever you want and rest and do that. And I think, again, the moderation of it. I think that we can all make excuses for it, but it's what's best for our body and our mind. And I think we could do both. So that's what I wanted to say for today. I hope you're having a great Sunday. Hope you had a great rest day yesterday, or just relaxation, or went out for Halloween, or did whatever you did. I hope it was great. So subscribe and let me know what topics you want me to talk about. And again, go through my YouTubes. I have blogs and the YouTubes and the ebooks and the boutique, and I'm adding a few more winter stuff to the boutique. I'm also going to kind of do a mindset, like a journal, like a mindset journal, or just with positive stuff I think that we all need to hear, and just kind of motivating stuff. So we'll keep an eye out for that. That should be really good. I have my podcast on Anchor. You can find all this at ladybcollective.com. And just remember, you are enough, and you're capable, and you're worthy, and to just keep going on those days that you don't think you can keep going, and just make sure that you're living as much as you can, and make sure that you're really just trying your best and trying to do good, and living as much in your purpose as you can. And even when you're tired and even when you're exhausted, those are the times to really show up. And that's about it. So again, subscribe to my YouTube, please, and thank you. Let me know though, if you don't like it, I'm fine with that. I love criticism, well, like constructive criticism, but just let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and just below in the comments, let me know what you want to hear. info@ladybcollective.com is where you can email me if you want to collaborate, if you want to do a video together. Like, I'm just open for all this. This is the time that is probably one of the hardest times, if not, but also it's a time for us to just go after our dreams and put content out there, and just really be ourselves, and start to really feel comfortable and accepting of ourselves and our journey. And I don't know, I'm all about my feelings right now. I'm all up in my feelings, kind of. But yes, you get the point. So I will talk to you next week, and let me know any recommendations you have, and check out my stuff, and just remember to keep going. And if you ever feel like you can't, please DM me or email me, and I will talk to everyone later. Bye.